Before you scroll, stop right there. Just 1 minute. I'm not asking for more than that. You've been moving quickly, going from one thing to another, scrolling, watching, thinking, and reacting without even realizing how fast everything is passing by. But right now, this moment is different. This is not sluchaj. This is not just another video appearing in front of you. This is a moment where you are being asked to pause, even if only for a minute, and listen with attention. You may feel like you don't have time, like you have already seen enough, like this can wait for later. But later is exactly where most important things get lost. So just for this moment, stay here. Do not move. Do not skip. Give me 1 minute of your time, because what you're about to hear is something you may not realize you needed until you truly listen. Through Jesus Christ, you are shown that sometimes the most important messages come in the smallest moments, not when you are fully prepared, not when you are expecting them, but when you are simply present enough to receive them. You have been going through your days carrying more than you realize. Not just responsibilities, not just tasks, but thoughts, worries, and questions that you don't always speak about. There are things on your mind that you push aside, things in your heart that you don't fully express, and moments where you feel something deeper, but quickly distract yourself before understanding it. You have learned to keep moving, to stay busy, and to avoid sitting with those thoughts for too long. And while that helps you keep going, it also creates a distance between you and the clarity you are looking for. Because clarity does not come when you are constantly moving. It comes when you pause. It comes when you allow yourself to listen, not just to what is around you, but to what is within you. And that is why this moment matters. Not because it is long, not because it is complicated, but because it is real. You are being asked to stop, even if only briefly, and pay attention. You may wonder why this matters, why 1 minute could make any difference. But think about how much time you spend every day on things that do not truly stay with you. Moments that pass quickly, things that you forget almost immediately, distractions that fill your time but do not add anything meaningful. And yet, something as small as 1 minute of real awareness, 1 minute of intentional listening, can begin to change the way you see things. Because it is not about the length of time, it is about the quality of attention. And right now, your attention is what matters most. You are here, you are listening, and that means something. That means you are open, even if you did not realize it. That means you are ready to hear something different, something that may not have reached you before because you were too busy to notice. There is something you have been overlooking, not because you wanted to ignore it, but because it has been easier to focus on everything else. Life has been full. Your mind has been occupied, and your attention has been pulled in many directions. But deep down, there is something that keeps coming back. A thought, a feeling, a question that does not fully go away. You may have noticed it in quiet moments, in times when everything slowed down for just a second, and you felt something that you could not fully explain. That is not sluchaj. That is not something random. That is something within you trying to be understood. And the more you ignore it, the more it stays unresolved. It does not disappear. It simply waits. It waits for a moment like this, when you are willing to stop, to listen, and to allow yourself to become aware of it. You are not being asked to solve everything right now. You are not being asked to make big decisions or change everything in your life. You are simply being asked to notice, to recognize what has been there all along, to allow yourself to feel what you have been avoiding, and to understand that ignoring something does not make it go away. It only delays what eventually needs your attention. You may have told yourself that you will deal with it later, that it is not urgent, that you have time. But time does not always move the way you expect it to. Moments pass, opportunities shift, and things that could have been simple become more complicated when they are left unaddressed for too long. This is why this moment matters, not because everything depends on it, but because it is a chance to pause, a chance to see clearly, and a chance to move forward with more awareness than before. You have been stronger than you give yourself credit for. You have handled things that you once thought you could not handle. You have continued moving forward even when you felt unsure. And you have kept going even when things did not make sense. But strength is not just about continuing without stopping. It is also about knowing when to pause, when to reflect, and when to listen. Because without those moments, you begin to move without direction. You begin to act without understanding. And you begin to feel disconnected from what truly matters. This is not about weakness. This is about balance. You need both movement and stillness, action and awareness, effort and reflection. And right now, this is your moment of reflection. As you continue to listen, I want you to become aware of your thoughts, not to control them, not to judge them, but simply to notice them. Notice what comes up when you are not distracted. Notice what stays when everything else fades, because that is where your answers are, not outside of you, not in constant movement, but within you, in moments like this. You may not understand everything immediately. You may not have complete clarity right away, but awareness is the first step. And once you become aware, everything else begins to follow. Your decisions become clearer, your direction becomes more stable, and your sense of understanding becomes stronger. You are not alone in this moment. Even when you feel like you are figuring things out on your own, there is guidance in your journey. There is direction in your path, even when it feels uncertain. You have been protected in ways you did not notice, guided in ways you did not understand, and moved away from things that were not right for you, even when it did not make sense at the time. What felt like rejection was often protection. What felt like delay was often alignment. And what felt like confusion was often preparation. You were not being left behind. You were being positioned. But positioning only matters if you are willing to recognize it, if you are willing to see it, and if you are willing to act when the moment comes. This is your moment. Not because it is perfect, not because everything is clear, but because you are here, you are listening, and you are aware. And that is enough to begin. You do not need to rush. You do not need to force anything. You only need to stay present and allow yourself to understand what you are being shown. Because once you do that, everything begins to shift, slowly, quietly, but meaningfully. And as you continue forward, you will realize that this 1 minute was not small. It was the beginning of something that needed your attention.